In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge the Gadigal and Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which we record this podcast. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and future, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening today. Do you have a chronic health condition and/or a disability? Or do you support someone living with a chronic health condition or disability? Hi, I'm Joel.
And I'm Lani, and we're Imperfectly Human. Welcome to Chronic Conundrums, a podcast from the Sydney Children's Hospitals Network, all about our chronically chaotic lives. In our journeys with a chronic condition, we must become expert navigators of the extraordinary, because every day presents a new challenge.
We're here to tell you what to gain from those aches and pains, because we're more than just patients, surgeries, and prescriptions. We're people too. When you have a chronic condition, health crises can arise. From time to time, you may need a little help from the hospital.
This episode, we're scaling the highs and lows of hospitalisations.
Health crises accompany some chronic conditions. When a flare-up becomes unbearable and your body begins to break down, you may need a little help from the hospital. Have you ever been hospitalised due to your chronic illness, or what was that experience like?
Well, I was hospitalised at the start of my diagnosis.
Oh, yeah.
So when they were just trying to figure out what's happening with my body, what's my lupus affecting, and how can we prepare for the future. So
Sure.
I had a kidney biopsy, and after my kidney biopsy, I had to lie down for about 8 hours, I think. So I have to stay flat so that my kidney doesn't get bruised.
Right.
I decided, you know what? I'm a superior human being. I can get up. It's fine. So I left about 2 hours earlier than I should have.
Right.
And a couple days later, my kidney got bruised. And so there was a little bit of bleeding, and it was really painful for me to breathe. So I was brought to Sydney Children's Emergency, and I was there for about a week before Christmas. And it was basically just monitoring to make sure it doesn't get worse.
Yeah, no, because I've had quite a few liver biopsies, and I was always sort of a little bit freakish in the way that I always loved going in for surgeries and procedures, which I know a lot of people can't relate to. I think it's just because I sort of grew up with them, and I sort of learned to like them, where as a small child, I would be completely terrified of going in. And then I sort of hit my teenage years. I kind of don't mind being in hospital at this point. But I've definitely had quite a few large or not nice procedure experiences, where I can think of one really vivid procedure that kind of went a bit wrong, where I had an ERCP, and they wanted to put a stent, which is just like a little circle, to prop up my bile duct, because it was flattened and it was screwing things up.
Yeah.
So they put one in, and it was too big, and so it stretched it. So I woke up in just immense pain. You wake up from an anesthetic and your brain's just not all there, obviously. But I just had sort of no grace period, and just woke up in pain and didn't know what to do or why it was happening.
Oh my God.
And they maxed out my legal amount of fentanyl, and I don't know how it calmed down, because I was so out of it because of the anesthetic, and then the maximum amount of fentanyl that you're allowed to have, which obviously also just sends you away.
Yeah.
That was just such a I don't know, a life-altering experience,
Yeah.
like waking up in pain
Yeah.
and not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have loads of other procedure stories. Most of them are pretty good.
Yeah.
I had a liver transplant. That was my major surgery.
Yeah.
And I remember going into the theatre room and I was smiling. I was like, I don't know exactly why, but I was excited. I was
Yeah.
like, this is going to be cool. How many people can say that they got a whole new liver at the age of 13?
Wow, that's
or
like
whatever?
a really cool way to look at it.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I just remember because my parents were next to me and my mum was crying and I was just kind of giggling away. It was just this ultimate contrast of emotions. And I had the liver transplant and it was a record time. Like they've never done
wow.
a liver transplant in that hospital
Yeah.
that has been faster than mine.
Wow.
And I don't know if that record still stands, but I think it's a cool record to have.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that admission ended up lasting 9 months because of other complications that happened along the way. But that operation was really the catalyst of it all. And my emotions have clearly over the years been quite different to how most people would look at things, which I would sort of attribute to growing up in the hospital system and having lots of little things along the way, which sort of prepared me for that longer hospital admission.
Yeah.
I just remember this one time having the laughing gas and I hated the way it made me feel, like completely off my head. Like there's echoes everywhere. And I remember just saying, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. And then obviously it's going to put me to sleep anyway.
Yeah.
But I've just always preferred the drip. And so whenever, the anaesthetist will go, oh, is there anything we need to know? I go, yeah, I want the drip, not the laughing gas because I don't like it. Which I think is important for people to know that you can ask for a preference.
At least when you're little, you don't really think you have a choice. You just give yourself to them.
Yeah.
And then you have to do whatever.
Yeah, which is such a thing about being a youth is that it feels like you're less in control of your own healthcare.
Yeah.
Where oftentimes it's the mums signing consent forms and then, you don't exactly feel like you have a say in that many things. And you don't know what you can ask and what people can actually do for you. And you don't know what people can do for you unless you ask.
Yeah.
So I guess it's getting over that feeling of feeling like you can't ask because it's not your place.
Yeah.
That really sort of helps you feel more comfortable in your healthcare, I think.
Yeah.
At least in my experience, the surgeons are really nice. You have really nice anaesthetists working with you.
Yeah.
I guess you don't see the surgeons too often.
Yeah.
Because most of the time you're asleep, I guess. But the people working in pediatric care like working with children, you know? They're there for you and they want the best for you.
Yeah.
So I think knowing that these people who are operating you are also humans and they have emotions, and keeping that in mind really just helps you uplift yourself and be more involved in your own healthcare.
Yeah, and more open to being like a part of that process.
Yeah, exactly. So being part of the process is so important, I think.
Whether it means testing, inpatient treatment, or surgery, admission can be a scary time as we grapple with anxieties and uncertainties around our condition. The sterile nature of hospital wards can be very scary and uncomfortable for inpatients. It can be loud, mentally challenging, and not the most private location. Joel, do your experiences mirror this description?
For sure. I think from my experience in hospital, it is not private, you know. You can draw a curtain. That's how you get your privacy.
That's the best you get.
Also, people's families as well.
Yeah.
You know, you see them come in and they're running around. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, no, we hate hospitals. We try to avoid them at all costs. You know, that's just how we are. So for loads of people, myself included, it's never too comfortable of an experience to be spending time in your hospital.
Yeah.
It kind of, I feel like, definitely can drive you mad a little bit in some sort of way.
I remember when I had to stay in hospital for like a week, my family, because we live about an hour away from Randwick,
Yeah.
and that's where I was staying. And I'm like in a big family, so I'm one of like 7 of us. So there was one time where we wanted to have a family dinner. And so they came, and obviously when you're in this like little space, you've got your bed and that's it.
Yeah.
So I met them like down like where the entrance was.
Oh, yeah.
And we just ordered Macca's and we were just eating it there.
Classic.
Because we couldn't even like fit into the room, let alone be allowed. Like it just wasn't a nice homey environment.
Yeah, no. It's not normal to be sitting in a bed for like 72 hours straight.
How do we face our fears and let ourselves recover? What have nurses, doctors, and other health professionals done to make you feel safe and cared for?
Knowing that people want to help you, I think was such a big thing in helping myself feel cared for.
Yeah.
I remember playing Uno with 2 of the nurses on a night shift.
Oh my goodness.
Which was very fun because someone told me, oh, you can come to the nurse's desk and hang out there at night if you want to. And, there'd be all sorts of little things I'd learn about different people that just humanized them, like I said.
Yeah.
And that really just helped me feel a lot more secure in my environment. And the hospital environment, I think, is sometimes hard for people to actually feel safe, which is counterintuitive because it's probably the safest place to be. So yeah, I think definitely that point of getting to know people and realizing that other people want to get to know you too just gives yourself that sense of security.
Yeah, I feel like you get in such a habit of like trying to separate yourself from like your doctors and your nurses. I feel like it's so important to like reach out because it helps them when they know you as well.
For sure.
Like it goes both ways. It makes you feel safer. It also helps them know how best to help you.
Yeah. A big thing about my condition, especially when I was in hospital, is trying to figure out when I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
And that's been an ongoing thing where I need to sort of sit and think, oh, I don't know if I'm feeling very well, or maybe it's just anxiety, I'm not sure. And then, I remember one night I was I was sitting in a weird position where I was like head on my lap, that kind of thing, like holding my calves.
Yeah.
And a nurse came in. It's like, hey, are you feeling all right? And said, oh, I don't really know. I wasn't really sure what I was doing just then. I just found myself in that position.
Yeah.
And she was like, so how do you think you're feeling? And I said, I am really not sure. I don't know if I'm good or if I'm bad. Maybe I'm feeling bad though, like sort of leaned towards that side.
Yeah.
And she said, trust yourself,
Yeah.
you know yourself better than anyone else.
Yeah.
So if you think that you're not feeling very well, I just found you in that position. Clearly you're not actually doing too well.
Yeah.
We'll help you out. It did end up being that I wasn't well. There was something wrong. And they managed to treat me and help me feel better before it got out of control or anything. And so, like, having someone just notice me and look out for me was such a big thing as well.
Yeah, it helps you feel seen.
Sydney Children's Hospital is very good at catering towards teenagers and children and making sure that their experience is as positive as it can be in the hospital.
Especially with chronic conditions, people with chronic conditions usually go to hospital extensively or stay there for long periods of time. So in turn, the staff technically become like a second family. For me anyway, when I graduated, it was really difficult to say goodbye in that sense that they weren't going to be those carers for me anymore.
On the ward at Sydney Children's Hospital, there's clown doctors, playgrounds and gardens, celebrity visitors, and a personal favourite, Delta dogs.
Additional services like the Starlight Foundation, Livewire, and the Chronic Illness Peer Support Group, or CHIPS, can add something cool to your new normal.
Joel, have you accessed any of these services before? And what do they have to offer for the chronically ill you?
I have accessed all of those before. I loved Livewire. I loved the people on Livewire. And the fact that they could just come in and do something completely different to the rest of your day. And it was genuinely fun. I'm a bit of a sucker for board games and card games and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were really good for that.
Yeah.
But then also I learned to play guitar, which I've mentioned before, kind of through them. You know, they could bring up a guitar for me, and then there would be a couple people who knew how to play guitar, and they'd sort of teach you a bit,
Oh, that's sick.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then for the other ones, like the Starlight Foundation, even though I was a bit old for it, it was kind of funny because it was kind of like what's the word? Like fourth wall breaking, the personas. I had conversations with a couple different captains that were super esoteric and way out of their general sort of depth, you know?
Yeah.
That they would talk to with a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
I got tips on what guitar I should get for my Starlight Wish.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And then we're both a part of CHIPS. How long have you been a part of CHIPS?
I think like a year.
Right.
So it's really, really fresh.
Yeah, pretty recent.
I wish I had CHIPS from when I was like just getting diagnosed.
Right, yeah.
Because I was a couple years later, that's when I joined CHIPS.
Sure.
And that's when I was like meeting all these people and like having all these game nights. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had this perspective when I was first diagnosed, because it's such like an isolating experience for me personally, going from like school every day to like missing out on all this stuff. And I felt like I didn't get to meet anyone that had that same experience as me.
Sure.
So I wish I had CHIPS for that time, because it just opens your eyes that like you've got people around you that are going through the same thing, that can help you, that can like complain with you about the same things. I think CHIPS is really good.
People having those shared experiences that you were sort of under the impression that it was just a you thing. I think that sort of definitely opened your eyes. Or opened my eyes as well. There are people who can relate to you. And you can talk to stuff about things you thought were super deeply personal, but they've had the same experience. And it's so nice being able to talk about some stuff with people who actually understand. So don't forget that there are others in the ward going through very similar experiences, and make sure to say hello to your neighbour, because they could become a friend. I've had loads of experiences with roommates who are really nice, and I've made friends with people who, through living in the hospital, that kind of thing.
And that makes it better.
For sure.
You're brought with
I've made a bunch of friends in hospital, which is really cool that I can say that. And I've had roommates that are really friendly, and we get to know each other. But I mean, that being said, I've had roommates who are a baby, and then their mum is the one in the room, and they're just really lovely. They're really nice. I shared a room with someone for a month or maybe 2 months, and then they got discharged, and then the mum came over and gave me like this basket of like condiments for my food and like little chocolates and stuff.
Oh, that's so
which
sweet.
was so nice, because the hospital food isn't great. And I just like got it, and like my jaw literally dropped. I was like, are you joking? And she was like, I don't need to bring this pepper home with me. You know, I've been hoarding it for my own meals, because the baby doesn't need to eat gourmet food. I can't even swallow whole foods. So it's all been just for me, and I don't need to take it home, and I'd really like you to have it.
Wow,
So-
that's a really thoughtful.
For sure.
as well.
So I think roommates can totally shape your experience when you're in a hospital, and it's such an overlooked part of it, I think, where people, you know, you think about being in hospital, you don't immediately go to, oh yeah, you're actually living with another stranger. That's just not something that comes to mind.
But it's like a major part.
me and my dad would often go to the Starlight Room and play on the video game board thingo, and that was fun. And that was a very positive experience. And they also often had different companies donating gifts. Since it was around Christmas when I was there, there were lots of gifts. So there were quizzes and you got to pick out gifts for yourself. And then they brought in chefs from Woolworths, and they had a cupcake tutorial sort of thing, which was very nice to have. Even though I couldn't eat, it was still nice. And they had gingerbread materials to make gingerbread houses and things like that. And they also had a different games room within the children's ward where they had board games and things like that, which were really nice to have. And the hospital in general is pretty walkable, so it was good to get out and just walk around the ward.
Thanks for listening to our discussion on hospitalisations.
We hope we've dissected the disconcerting and given you the best tips and tricks to navigate this chronic conundrum.
If you'd like to learn more about the activities and programs afforded across Sydney Children's Hospital Network, visit schn.health.nsw.gov.au or follow us on Podbean, where we've uploaded content on our Linktree.
Tune in next episode as we've invited some special guests to spill the tea on shifting family routines, our siblings. While we strive to support you on your journeys with a chronic condition, this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional mental health advice. If you find any topics potentially triggering, please seek help from a local mental health professional or contact Kids Helpline on 1-800-55-1800 for 24-hour advice.